lounging, son.
Welcome back to the Comic Lounge. My name is Ryan, and back with me, Mr. Joe Casey.
What's up?
Super stoked to be going through issue 2 of Blood Squad 7. I love the first issue. The second issue is even better. And again, it just like there's a level of excitement that I have to see what issue is going to come next and what else you're going to incorporate. And we talked about it in issue 1. Some of the backup stories, the Infinity that you dropped in. This one, you're going to see it from the very beginning of what you riffed off of. You were saying before I hit the record about the corner box. It's awesome.
The favorite motif of mine. They don't do it enough anymore. Marvel doesn't do it, so somebody's got to step in.
Missed opportunities, I think.
I'll say.
There's a lot of stuff Marvel and DC don't do that they should be doing, but I'm not here to talk shit about it. But let's jump in. So Paul Fry on the art. We got Francesco Segala on colors again. And you know what? I asked you last time about, the logo by Rob Liefeld. It's not in every Image comic.
No.
It's only in some of them.
Yeah.
We open up and we're transported back to 1992, which got him facing off against Savage Dragon.
Yeah.
One of my favorite characters. Probably my favorite title, I think, of the launch. Still going strong too. 273 issues.
Yeah, this is the first of our real retcon flashbacks where we take an old scene from an old Image comic, insert our characters in for the dearly departed Youngblood. So this was probably one of the first major crossovers between Parker's characters when Badrock showed up in Savage Dragon. So of course in Blood Squad 7 it's the beloved Blockhead.
Yeah, dude. I loved that issue. It was so cool. Because you had sent me the PDFs when we did an interview about talking about the series. And when I saw the opening page, I was like, I knew exactly, like, the images of Larson's pages, are embedded in my brain. And it was so cool to see, one of my favorite characters. And then really cementing embedded this is in terms of, like, the Image continuity. Great double page, too.
Yeah, this is where if you have any inkling of what we're doing with this series, this scene cements it.
And Paul did such a great job drawing Dragon. Not everybody can do that fin, dude.
Yeah,
people have a hard time with the fin. He did a good job.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it was it's great because it's Paul's translation of that imagery from the original Dragon issue, and he just nailed it. And we did kind of, if you see the original comic next to these pages, we did, we sort of mixed and matched. We streamlined the sequence so it didn't go on as long. I mean, it's not a direct lift, but the panels are fairly one-on-one direct. Even that panel 3 on page 4 where the Blood Squad 7 guys are coming out of the precinct. And of course in the original comic it's Shaft and Die Hard and Badrock, but we've got our guys Tachi, Man of War, and Blockhead here.
Yeah, dude. It's so much fun to see. You're satisfying like the kid in me with the 90s Image stuff, but then also with the modern stuff. It's a nice balance, and it's again, I'm very excited to see what other characters kind of weave in and out of this title. I know there's some that another publisher owns, so I know we definitely won't be seeing that. But I just gotta. Is there maybe going to be your own version of that team, possibly? Or are you gonna? I mean, you don't really need to, but they did have a crossover with
that crossover will be referenced. Let me just say that it will be referenced.
Okay,
we're very clever about it. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, I'm excited. And then we get back to the now, and we go right into Ripcord after that fucking bloody scene that we ended on. If you thought, as a reader, if you thought he was fucked up before, man, you kick it up a notch with how disturbed this dude really fucking is. The lack of fucking any type of like humanity in him, to me, really like resonates.
Well, I mean, he's given a story that, on the surface makes some sense. She wants to believe it. She almost buys it. But, there's something about him, man, that's just not sitting right. And, it's one of those things. I often enjoy interactions with characters where possibly the reader knows more than some of the characters in the scene. And this is definitely one of those times where we know we saw what Ripcord did. At the same time, at this point in the narrative, he could be right. He could be telling the truth. You never know. You know, he's a superhero, right? One of the good guys.
Yeah, that's all he cares about.
Yeah.
He wants that fame, dude. When are we gonna go public? You know, I really kick some ass. It just gets called, you know, just gets cut off immediately. That's not your call. I would be so anxious to, you know, go public if I were you. Because he
Yeah.
is. I mean, he's like, he tells it, is that a sex farm? He was undercover. I mean, it's
Yeah.
wild, dude.
And of course, Erica Richmond, who runs the program, she was the original Infinity.
Mm-hmm.
She knows the score. She knows what it means to be a celebrity, to be famous, and she's kind of intimating as the whole series will sort of get to, fame ain't all it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, it never is.
Yeah.
And so even though, you know, they're letting him go for now, I mean, obviously, like they're gonna do their due diligence and like figure out what the fuck really went on
Yeah.
in the massacre. And then we get right back to the headquarters over here.
Yeah. This is Night Striker's silo that they're building her, have a launch base. And I mean, this is we're still seeing the program being built up and all the various pieces being put into place. And it's one of the things I like about doing the series. It's the behind the scenes of building a superhero team, you know, all the mechanisms that surround them and all the apparatus that has to be built from the ground up just to maintain the operation. I don't know. I find that stuff to be interesting.
It is very interesting. I mean, we're not even really seeing the team fully formed. I mean, when is that going to just take place throughout the first arc before we
Yeah.
actually fully see them together?
Yeah, the first arc is the formation of the team, basically.
I like that you put extreme
Yeah.
in bold. Nice little call out to the extreme universe.
Yeah, there's a lot of those little Easter eggs in here.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I really like Night Striker. I love her design and stuff. I love the way that that Paul lays out this book. It's very eye-catching for sure.
Well, this is really our homage or tribute to the Ultimates, this scene here.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah, when Tony Stark is becoming Iron Man, and that was issue like 2 or 3 or something like that.
Yeah, the way Hitch depicted the Iron Man armor being put on, and I mean, obviously it influenced the movies that came after him. It was huge, and I was there when it was happening. I was impressed when it was happening, and happy to give it a little hat tip here.
That's cool. I didn't even like connect those dots either, but
Oh,
yeah, I can remember those pages well for sure.
Yeah, great.
So she's just making the rounds, dude. Now she's with Enigma.
No, that's Bete Noir.
Or Bete Noir, yeah.
She's talking about Enigma. She's talking about
Yeah.
The meeting that creeped her the fuck out. But yeah, there's like, yeah. So as we're saying, she's still in recruitment phase. This is they come to pick up or retrieve this guy Alex Maxon. Now Alex Maxon is possibly the deepest cut. You know, if anybody picks up on where I got this character or what his pedigree is, you know, if we had no prizes, they would get a no prize, because it is where he comes from is the deepest cut. I'm telling you, deepest cut that is in this whole series, I think, anyway.
Yeah, I have no clue. I wouldn't get that no prize.
You've had to have read Youngblood deep into the run. We're talking like the second series, the Eric Stevenson, Roger Cruz run in like the mid 90s. I mean, it's deep.
Okay. I don't have many of those issues.
Not many people do. Not many people have them or hung on to them. They're hard to find in back issue bins for some reason. They're rare finds.
Well, now I got to go find them. Now I'm going to be thinking about this the rest of the day. So
they're, look, Eric Stevenson, he knows his superheroes. He's got his influences are sort of my influences. So, his Youngblood issues that he was writing solo are really very good superhero teen books,
So we got this dude basically in a prison cell. So he's a villain.
Well, no, they don't know what he is yet. That's the thing. He's got telekinetic abilities, and because of his background, which Erica alludes to there about who's an enemy and who's not an enemy, they're just still unsure. But she wants him on the team, and what she wants for the moment she gets.
So he the deep cut or his mom is the deep cut?
His mom is the deep cut.
Okay. All right. I gotta go get those issues now. Do you have an issue number I can look at? Give me a range.
I think the mentions start happening around issue 9 or 10 of the second series.
Okay.
It's not
All right.
it's not the Liefeld series. This is again, this is the, I guess you could consider it volume 2 of Youngblood.
Was it Awesome Comics at that point?
No, not
It was
awesome.
still Image?
Right
All right.
around 1995.
Okay. So it went up to issue 10, right? Was the last issue of volume 1?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And then
I'm just really curious.
second,
I never
the
read
second
any of that.
volume, the second volume went way longer, went like almost like around issue 18, 19. It went like a good year and a half, I think, if not longer.
Okay. I gotta check that out. Yeah, because I mean I love the deep cuts that I know. Well, I love the deep cuts that I know, but if you're saying this is so deep that like I mean like I don't even think I've ever seen any of those issues.
Well, then that's deep,
Like
man.
physically. Like I've never seen them in person. Like you said, like I always see those first 10, especially like the first 3 or 4. Those are
Yeah,
like the easiest to find, I think. Even
yeah.
those, I feel like people are starting to scoop them up when they see them, and they're just
Oh, now they are. Yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, there was a period where they were ubiquitous in back issue bins because they printed so many of them and they were such huge sellers,
Hmm.
hundreds of thousands of copies floating around out there.
Yeah, man, I gotta fill in that gap now. So now we get back to Ripcord. He's getting he's getting like some sort of stabilizing agent for the enhancements that he has,
Yeah.
right? And so when he's saying how long has he got, what is that? Is there health issues or in terms of how often he needs to get these things? Because like what
Well,
happens to him if he doesn't get them?
let's just say that part of the reason for his attitude, let's say, is that there is a shelf life. There is what did they call those things? Remember in Blade Runner, the replicants could only have so many years or whatever.
Okay.
It's that kind of deal. So, in a way, because of being Ripcord, he's sort of, in a way, he's sort of dead man walking.
Okay. I was gonna say, is it kind of akin to like the Suicide Squad in terms of having those bombs in their head, but it's not so much that. It's just like he's living on borrowed time, which is probably why he's such a piece of shit. And is like,
Correct.
well, I'm gonna die anyway. I might as well live it to the way I want to live it.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's feeling pretty shafted by his situation. He feels like he's not going to make it to the fame and the celebrity that he has wanted so badly.
Hmm. I love how he says he's handling it just fine. I wouldn't say he's handling it fine, but that's neither here nor there. Another great sequence here. I love this. I love the straight at the camera.
Yeah. Paul did a great job with this sequence.
Yeah.
It's tough, man. It's weird that in comic books, I mean, this is not, I don't know if this is a hot take, but purely visual storytelling is becoming a lost art in comics where you could just look at the images and follow the story. That for some reason I see that less and less in modern comics, but it's what comics do better than anything, really.
Yeah, it's not a hot take. I agree with you 100%. I feel like so much of that, it's like, I don't know, the stuff that excited me when I was a kid, right? Like, and I think a lot of us, you're coming to it for the visual
Yeah,
first. And don't get me wrong, like writing to me, to me it's equal. But when you're young and you're getting into it, I didn't know. I learned how to read because of comics. But what
yeah,
did
me
I look
too.
at first? The images. The images helped tell the story in my head because I couldn't read the words, right?
Yeah,
And yeah, I feel like a lot of that's lost on it. I think that so often we get comics that's, I don't want to say talking heads, but like there are, where it's like
yeah,
there's not enough action. I feel like there should be the perfect balance. I've been going back reading like Claremont X-Men stuff, the Silvestri, the Jim Lee, and I'm like, man, that was as verbose as he is. There's still a balance of the soap opera aspect and the action, and like I don't get that as much anymore.
well, I mean, again, another hot take. I think for the most part, we're dealing with a generation of creators that are more influenced by television than anything else.
Hmm.
And, I mean, we've just gone through 15 years of the best television that's ever been. But that television's a writer's medium for the most part.
Hmm.
It's not a director's medium. It's not a cinematographer's medium. You can have those things, and the best TV does. But for the most part, even great TV is very tell, not show, and that has come back to influence comics in a big way. Your mileage may vary on whether or not that's the most effective way to use the medium, but it is what it is.
I didn't think about it in that sense, that it definitely I definitely am like thinking about some of the more recent stuff I've read of like new stuff, and you're some of the stuff's like implied. It's not told on camera. And sometimes you just want to see a fight or you just want to see some action. I don't know. That's how I am.
Yeah,
Sometimes I just want to see some superheroes beating the shit out of each other or, heroes beating the shit out of villains on top of like the story progressing in the plot and all that kind of stuff.
yeah, you can have it all if you try hard enough, I think.
Yeah. I think Eric Larson does a good job of it with Savage Dragon. I mean,
Yeah.
his shit's wild now. It's like it's way out there. It's fun, dude. It's fun superhero comics for
Well,
sure.
he's of that different generation. He's of an earlier generation that was influenced, if by anything, by other comics. At the
Yeah.
very least, by other comics. So it's
Yeah.
going to be a different vibe there.
So we get Night Striker think it's coming up on somebody else, and it happens to be the new Infinity,
Yeah,
Infinity's daughter.
yeah. Finally,
Sneak it up on her.
yeah, finally getting in on the action here.
Yeah.
She's kind of she's a little try hard, but she means well.
Yeah, she almost got her head fucking blasted off too by sneaking up. Don't sneak up on somebody with a fucking with a power suit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But now, like they're mentioning the Gang of Four. That's referring to somebody, right? I think you mentioned it last time. Did
Yeah,
you?
yeah. I mean, in the first issues of Youngblood, they go after they fight a team of crooks called the Four,
Okay, yeah, yeah.
and this is our nod to that. This is our version of that.
And I like that, Night Striker's on this. I was like, you can tell me what this op is. Like, yeah, just don't tell your mom. I don't need that grief. So like she's up to, something else
Yeah,
that she doesn't want. I'll just call her OG Infinity. As they go to this list. I love that. Fuck you. I
yeah.
like that you block out the one letter but you already know what it is.
Well, we're skating the line. We're
Yeah,
trying
you're
to.
skating one.
It's just it's a tad tasteful,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah. I mean, obviously the Gang of Four, knew they were probably looking for him and leaving him a nice little message there.
Mm-hmm. And
So
you
I'm
again mentioning legacy and stuff too.
yeah, I'm seeding a battle to come here.
Dude, I just love Paul's art so much. I keep saying it, but was not familiar with him until I cracked open issue one. That was the first time I've seen his art, and such a great choice on this book.
Well, he and Francesco are a great team of artist and colorist. I mean, they really complement each other, and what Paul lets the color sell, it sells really well, and what Paul sells himself, just works. I mean, I love that explosion. It just looks great.
And then we got OG talking to the alien race, which was that in the first? I can't remember because I read both of them like months ago, and then I'm rereading them
Well,
for the second time.
In Youngblood, there was Combat and Photon,
Right, right, right. Okay.
and they were from alien races that, for some reason, there was one of each on Earth, and in space, those species were at war. So that's why that's why Erica talks about the peace treaty and all this kind of stuff. This is obviously post serving their time on Earth, and now they're back in space. But obviously, to try to get some intel on Ripcord's story, she's going to her alien contacts. And again, it's a shout out to the history of the team that 30 years ago they did have these, just like in Youngblood, they had these two alien races represented on the team.
But now they have no representation on the team, or is there a possibility we're going to get some?
Well, I mean, I didn't want to get too far into alien shit. I
Uh-huh.
want to give a nod to it, but I mean, the characters are cool, so you never know. But I mean, but I like the idea that the war is over. They've served their time on Earth, but they're still contactable. They're still a resource for Erica. And of course, they tell her, we have no knowledge of aliens on Earth anytime, in the recent past. And so that she's like, oh shit, so he's lying to me, I think.
Yeah, I love how, like the original Ripcord 2 was one of the more challenging humans
Yeah.
that we encounter, in the act of savagery you're describing, maybe there's a new serpent in this garden you hope to grow. The
Yeah,
mantle itself is cursed, which I think is interesting too.
yeah, yeah,
And then here he comes, dude, coming to meet a lady of the night.
yeah. He's he's a little incorrigible,
Yeah.
Ripcord.
The fucking look on his face right here, dude,
Yeah.
says everything about him.
I mean, that was again a book about celebrity superheroes. I wanted to run the range of morality and attitudes, and I mean, they're just the chances that everybody you would recruit would be squeaky clean and morally upstanding. It's just unrealistic to me. You no matter how much you try to weed them out, there's always going to be one bad apple, and Ripcord is definitely the bad apple here, as this scene pretty much cements.
Oh yeah, dude, he's fucking nuts. I mean, just even as he's as he's doing the deal,
Yeah,
he's like, "Let's look, I'll make it that far, nothing matters anymore, and all things come to an end, all things die." And then you see the scientists say like, "There's nothing inside him that's alien, 0% contamination." This dude's just fucking nuts.
so it's like I love that last panel because you're reading on her face, this is her worst nightmare. I mean, she's trying to rebuild this team. They're going to go public soon.
Hmm.
It's a public facing organization, and yet now she's got corruption already in the ranks, like serious problems that could upend the whole thing.
Yeah, that is. I mean, those two panels next to each other are just so perfect. I'm Ripcord, goddammit, from Blood Squad 7 that she's just like shit,
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm excited for everything that's gonna come, dude. I'm absolutely having a blast reading this book. I recommend it to everybody that I talk to, that reads comics. So letters pages, I loved last time. This one, I think might be the best letters pages I've ever seen assembled. Now I read old letters pages and I see creators' names in there that obviously
yeah.
they wrote in, right? Like in the
Oh yeah.
70s, the 80s. But you got Michelle Fife, Robert Kirkman, and Jeff Johns on this page. Then you got Tim Seeley, Joe Corallo, who's I'm not familiar with Joe Corallo.
Joe Corallo's a writer. He does a lot of indie stuff. Like works for
Okay.
Mad Cave. He just had a thing in the DC Pride issue. Good
Okay.
dude.
Nice. I mean, and to get all this like praise from these creators who I absolutely love is really cool to see.
Well, they all remember the old Image comics, and they were all there
Yeah.
for the launch. So they know what this book is trying to do, and I'm grateful to them for you know giving a nice word, giving a nice shout
Can
out
we
to
get
us.
Fife on a variant cover possibly?
I would love to get Fifi on a variant cover. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we need to see that. We need to see a Blood Squad 7 cover by Fife.
Yeah.
That's something I want to see. Not to say that the variants haven't been dope, because those Jim Rugg covers, I told you last time, I tell you every time I talk to you that they're phenomenal, but I love Fife. I think you do a great job. But
Yeah.
another great issue. And I can't recommend the series enough. If anybody listening and watching to this, you haven't picked it up, get out there, get the first two issues. They're both available. The Blood Squad 7-1 go to second print, right?
It sure did.
It
Yeah.
did. So hit up your shop, pick these up, add it to your pull list. Um, Joe, thank you again, dude, for taking time out to talk about the book with me. We're doing issue 3 for sure if you're down.
I was gonna say we'll see you for issue 3.
Hell yeah, dude. Awesome.